Today we are going to be rehydrating some blue cheese crumbles that we freeze-dried last month and some powdered sour cream that we freeze-dried last year. We're going to make a sauce for our burgers for lunch. In general, items that you're going to be storing on a shorter term basis, to keep in your pantry and kind of use throughout the year, we'll keep in a vacuum sealed jar. And then that way we can kind of get in and out of it whenever we need to for situations like this. I need about 2 tablespoons for the sauce that we're going to be making today. And cheese is one of those easy things because you can just add a little bit of water and let it sit. And we like to use either filtered or bottled water to rehydrate our freeze-dried food for best taste compared to tap water. If you enjoy blue cheese crumbles, you can also freeze-dry them and use them as a salad topping or just as like a little snack if you like to snack on some cheese. For today's purpose, making a sauce, it doesn't matter if it's completely rehydrated or not. We're going to add some water. It's going to end up being mushed up into a sauce anyway. We could also leave this in the fridge overnight. And cheese only takes in what it needs, so I'll just pour off the extra water later. And I'm using filtered water for best taste to rehydrate the blue cheese. For today's sour cream rehydration, we're going to use warm filtered water and stir that up and let it sit in the fridge for about an hour. We like to use an electric kettle, and it gives us the ability to set a custom temperature such as 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Now I'm going to open up our sour cream that we freeze-dried back in November of 23. Got to open this a little bit slowly because it's a powder. Don't want it to kind of fly around. There we go. You can see it's still nice and dry. It smells good. I tasted some the other day when we were experimenting with some cool water. And then today we're going to use warm water to rehydrate. We understand that most people rehydrate their freeze-dried powdered sour cream in a ratio of 5 to 3, but it also depends on what kind of sour cream you used. We used lactate sour cream, and I think sometimes that might factor in there. We did an experiment the other day with cold water, and we did a 5 to 2 ratio, and it was still a little bit runny. So this time we'll start with 5 to 2 and go from there. To start off with, we'll just do 2 tablespoons of warm filtered water and then go from there. We like to use a milk frother to kind of get this to be a little bit smooth. When we did the cool water experiment, it did stay a bit grainy, and we understand that using the warm water helps with that. So that's part of our experiment to see how that goes. I'm just going to kind of manually stir this first, just so I don't fling a bunch of sour cream powder everywhere, and then I can turn on the milk frother. And that does seem pretty thick so far, and of course it'll thicken up a little bit more as it absorbs the water. But here we go, give it a little bit of a stir. It is pretty thick right now. And then after that's mixed up, let it sit in the fridge, check on it in about 20 or 30 minutes, and see if we need to add any more water or if it's the consistency we like and need. So after about a half an hour, we checked our sour cream, and it looks like the 5 to 2 ratio that we were trying is not enough water. It kind of has the consistency of frosting. It's very thick, still tastes delicious, but not quite the creamy texture that we're going for. It's almost like butter or frosting. So we'll do another batch with the 5:3 ratio using warm filtered water next. We're going to do 5 more tablespoons of sour cream, and then this time we're going to use the 5 and 3 ratio, so 3 tablespoons of warm filtered water. Here's our 3 tablespoons of warm filtered water going in. We've got a milk frother that we like to use. First, I'm just going to kind of manually stir this up a little bit, just so I don't fling powder everywhere. And once that's mostly mixed, I'll go ahead and turn on the little frother. That looks pretty good there. Looks like a thick cream. And then we'll let that sit in the fridge for about 30 minutes and see how that works out. And that is about the consistency of like a thick cream. The blue cheese crumbles have been sitting in the fridge for about an hour now. You can see they've absorbed a lot of the water, and I'll just pour off any extra, and then they'll be ready to use. And now it's been about 45 minutes for the sour cream sitting in the fridge. And you can see it probably could sit a little bit longer, but for our purposes making a sauce, it's ready to go now. And we're going to make a 2-to-1 ratio mixture of the sour cream to blue cheese. I'm just going to stir in the blue cheese crumbles that are now rehydrated. And stir that all together, and that's going to be our sauce for our burgers.
All right, that was about 3.5, 4 minutes underneath our toaster oven broiler.